Hello there, welcome to my review of the Rockford File Season 2, Episode 17, Joey Blue Eyes, written by Walter Dallenbach and directed by Lawrence Doheny. The episode begins with a returning Eddie Fontaine arriving at an apartment and asking for the Joey of the title.
Who is it?
Joey here.
When the woman tells him Joey's not in, he and another goon break down the door and assault her. Meanwhile, Jim and Beth are making their way to dinner at a restaurant of a reformed gangster, Joey Blue Eyes.
He wouldn't be a hood now, would he?
A reformed hood like you.
Coincidence? Of course not.
Because he has a little problem and I thought you might like to help.
Joey, played by the wonderful but not at all blue-eyed Michael Ansara, has a problem he needs Jim's help with.
I got this here joint, but I'm up to my knees in airtight clauses and holding companies that don't hold nothing.
His restaurant has all sorts of financial problems, but Jim refuses to help, and Joey's temper comes to the forefront.
Drift, mister. Get out of my joint.
Jim and Beth leave, but as they're on their way out, Joey tears out of the place and zooms off in his car. As they head home, Beth convinces Jim to take Joey's case and explains that when he wanted to expand his restaurant business, he took on a partner, Stryker. And it turns out Joey's lawyer, who drafted the contracts, was working for Stryker.
The idea was that in 4 years, Joey would have the option to buy his partners out at a fixed price.
Only all the assets he thought he had turned out to be nothing but paper.
We then see Stryker on the phone with the lawyer, who is demanding more money, which Stryker isn't happy about. Not happy at all.
Say another $1,000 a month?
You blackmailing me, Larry?
If you want to call it that.
I'll take care of you, Larry. You can depend on it.
Stryker is played by James Luisi, who will return in the recurring role of Lieutenant Chapman later on in the show. Then we see what Joey is up to, having discovered his daughter, the woman from the opening, has been beaten.
You mess with my daughter and you're dead!
He tracks down the goons and dispenses his own form of justice, getting himself arrested in the process. In jail, Beth gets Joey out, and Jim agrees to help him if he controls his temper and his fists. Jim and Joey go to see the goons that beat up Joey's daughter, as Joey owed them money, and Jim makes the bold suggestion of lending Joey more.
He goes broke. You're left with a short end and nothing.
This is a fragmented start with lots of different elements going on at the same time, and the actual problem Joey has is perhaps overly complex for the amount of time they spend explaining it. What the story is trying to do is tell us Joey is being conned out of his restaurant and has a temper, but goes around the houses to set this up. The addition of the assault of his daughter by the loan shark is not just scenery though, as it plays into the eventual scheme Jim comes up with. It too though is a little rushed, and might have been better if it was simplified.
If you don't get it up by Friday, he's gone. And so's his daughter.
The loan shark turns Rockford down, so he goes to plan B and ropes in Angel to pretend to be the loan shark and demand the $200,000 Jim needs to complete his plan from Stryker.
I'm not interested. Good day, Mr. London.
This goes about as well as could be expected and leads to a car chase as Stryker's goons try to grab Angel. With all the ends very much dead and Angel afraid he might be joining them, Joey is naturally unhappy with Jim's progress.
So far, nobody is hitting like Joe DiMaggio.
Jim then concocts a new plan that isn't entirely legal.
What I got in mind is not exactly on the up and up, but
He tells Stryker he is Angel's boss and has kidnapped Joey's daughter, Paulette, and expects Stryker to pay the ransom because her name is on all of the paperwork for the restaurant.
Pop's got a felony record. And if you want a liquor license, owner of name's got to be clean.
So Stryker can't repossess it without her. Stryker is smarter than that though, and has Jim followed so he can kidnap Paulette back to force the deal through. At this stage, the episode is slightly less complicated as things begin to play out, and we see Jim's new plan in action. This culminates in Joey pretending to shoot Jim, witnessed by Stryker's goon, selling the con to Stryker completely. Angel now contacts Stryker, demanding a trade, the money for the girl, and Stryker plans to catch them and kill them, which Jim is relying on.
They'll make the drop and then try and kill us when we make the pickup.
Oh, that's a real good deal.
While Stryker and his goons are staking out the drop-off point, Jim has already gotten away with the money.
He got brains enough to check this litter box out in the first place. He stood there with waiting arms.
Stryker turns up at Joey's restaurant and quickly gets wise to the scam, with Jim resurrected and Beth waiting to buy Stryker out with his own money, which he has no choice but to accept, as he stole that money from his company's payroll.
You're okay, Robert. You got style.
This is an episode with perhaps an overly complicated plot in order to get to the eventual scam, even if that scam is brilliant. But it also moves at a terrific pace. This is possibly why it seems more complicated than it is, and as it turns out, they didn't really need the real loan sharks to be in it at all. So maybe it would have been better to streamline it to give the story a bit more room to breathe. Also, with Joey shooting Jim, it might have been nice if they'd set it up to be potentially really happening because of Joey's temper, but it's always the case that it looks like it's a setup.
No, Joey.
Where is she?
Joey,
Where's
no, Joey, don't do that, Joey!
Even with this complexity, the episode is still a lot of fun, thanks in part to the addition of Angel, which brings out so much of the humour in the script. This is definitely one where it's best not to think about the plot too much and just enjoy the ride. So for me, it's a 4 out of 5. Thank you. Goodbye.